What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy and welcome to another FPL video. Today we're looking ahead to game week 26. It's the preview being recorded on Wednesday night just after the games are finished, and I've done my stream making sure it's out for Thursday so it's ready for the weekend, get you my thoughts on everything that's coming up. We're also going to have a quick look back at game week 25 as well, as normal, look at the previous game week. And for me, it was pretty awful in the end. It's a double game week. I did bring AGUERO in, but that was part of a hit to get rid of Hazard, Alonso and Kamara to bring in Punchin, Bednarak and AGUERO. So that ultimately netted me 0 points because Hazard got 15. Obviously, when you take the -4 into account as well, that makes 19, and AGUERO got 19. So obviously, it was great to own him. A lot of people didn't. But for me, it actually netted me no extra points as if I kept Hazard. And I triple captained Sané for someone who has a really bad record for the triple captainship. This is the worst by far. 1 point, 3 points in total. Obviously missed the first match, came off in the 59th minute. I mean, what can you do about that? I didn't think he was that bad of an option. I thought him, AGUERO and Sterling were the main three. I said that on plenty of videos. I even said there's probably a chance that one or two of them played twice. That happened to be AGUERO. And I messed up with Sané, and there's not a lot I can do about it. I've got to move on and try and kick on for the next week. I think the reason I'm pretty annoyed about it, or I feel like it was a mistake, is I did it so last minute. I even said in the last video that I felt it was a bit of a risk to triple captain. But in the end, I ultimately felt that I maybe wouldn't get a better chance because of the way I'm going to play my chips. I had AGUERO as captain at about 11:05 on Saturday morning. Then I changed to Sané because I remembered what I'd said about him and that I felt that him and Sterling were probably the better two options. And then at 11:31 my phone said, if you've seen me on Twitter or on the stream, you know about this already, but 11:31 my phone said, and I could still do triple captains, so I thought, why not? I'll just go for it. Then he misses a game and then comes off in the 59th minute. It's absolutely brutal, but that's what the sad faces are there for. Not too many other talking points. You can see on the screen who else did well. Pogba and Rashford, Doherty and Wan-Bissaka. So selling Alonso wasn't too much of an issue because I would have benched one of those two anyway. So, you know, Alonso I think got 6 points, so one extra, but whatever, that's not the end of the world. And Bednarak came in and got an assist and a couple of bonus points as well, which was quite nice. So I feel like I'm set up. Jimenez again, always got to give him a mention. I'm the proud running chairman of the Jimenez Appreciation Society, so love to have him. But ultimately, yeah, it was a bad week because I've wasted the triple captainship. The only solace I have is that if you can nail the right captain in the double game week, if there's a captain that everyone goes for, whoever it might be, maybe it's even AGUERO again, and he comes out as the high scorer and you captain him, chances are he's probably not going to beat 19 points by that much, maybe 25. So realistically, you're looking at maybe missing out on 25 points for that triple captainship. So it's not the end of the world. It's not season defining. But obviously, if I'd had nailed that, I'd be much closer to the top 10k. Instead, I'm outside the top 40k again, back down to 43k, and it's kind of up and down for me. I'm going nowhere, but we stay positive, and hopefully in game week 26 we can kick on again and get that rank back, and then hopefully not lose it again. So let's see what's going on in game week 26. So let's jump straight in and talk about should you sell Man City assets or keep them. Just to remind everyone. It's Chelsea at home up next, then they've got a blank game week, then it's West Ham at home, Bournemouth away and Watford at home. So if you take out the blank week, 3 of the next 4 are pretty good, West Ham, Bournemouth and Watford. And the way Chelsea have been playing recently and the fact that Man City are at home, they're on a bit of a run at the moment, they've gone top of the league now. That doesn't necessarily look like the worst fixture either. Obviously Chelsea did very well against Huddersfield but very poorly against Bournemouth. So I think Man City, obviously a different animal, could really cause Sarri's team's problems there. Now, whether to keep or sell obviously depends, and I was chatting on the stream about how quickly FPL can change. Before this week, I was thinking I'd do AGUERO to AUBAMEYANG, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and keep Sané. But now I'm actually looking at maybe doing it the other way around. So, Sané, some people are saying he's out of sorts, maybe had an argument with Pep. I mean, I haven't really seen evidence to see anything that suggests that, really. Yes, he's had a couple of poor games. Newcastle, he was poor. But to be honest, so was the whole Man City team. The thing that worries me there is he'd had quite a bit of rest and then misses a game and then starts one, but then comes off on 59 minutes. And Mendy he sounds like he's almost back or ready to go again. So I'm a little bit worried about Sané, to be honest. And if Mendy does come back after the blank, then you do worry about his minutes. And there are other players you could go for. Mane, Son, for example, are nice kind of downgrades, or Mane would be around the same price, but they're transfers you could make for him. Talking about the other players, I mean, Sterling I would keep. I think Sterling starts most games. If you've got the money to be able to keep him, there's no other transfers you want to make, I think you could do that. I think the Chelsea game could have points in it, and yes, they've got a blank, but as long as you're not holding a huge amount of Everton and Man City players, you could bench them. I'm planning on only having one of the 3 Everton Man City players I've got right now, and I'll probably bench them in the blank. So you could definitely do that. I think Aguero, probably back to earlier in the season, looks to be the number 1 choice again. Yes, Jesus came on for him in the game against Everton, but Aguero did start both games, got good minutes in both as well. So he looks like to be the number 1 again. Yes, he might get the odd rest here or there, but while they're pushing for the league and he's fit, he is the better player out of him and Jesus. And he's in some pretty good form himself after getting a hat-trick. So I think Aguero could be the man to keep. For me, I know it's partly a bit of a knee-jerk because of how the double game week went, but I'm a little bit more worried about Sané now. And Aguero I feel like I can keep. So just to come on to a point we were going to talk about a bit later on, but benching blank game week players, I absolutely think you can do this. People get worried about having to bench their blank players because obviously when it comes to Man City especially, they're very high price players, very good players, and you don't really want to necessarily bench them. But a lot of people are going to be in the same boat, and it is only one game week, and after that they do have a good run. Like we say, they are pushing for the league, and if Liverpool slip up again, Man City, even once that game in hand's gone, could be right back into kind of pole position and actually stay there. So with the fixtures they got, they're going to absolutely go for it. We know they like to attack. So for me, keeping one of your midfielders or Aguero, maybe even both, to be honest, if you've got the bench to back it up, check what their fixtures are for your squad. You can absolutely bench them. So keep or sell. I think majority keep, but I'm a little bit worried about Sané. And then Aguero to Aubameyang. So this was my planned transfer. Now, there's 2 reasons why I'm looking against this. One, if you're doing it for a hit, I don't think I like it at all, to be honest, because like I said, I think there could be points in that Chelsea game for Aguero if he plays. And Aubameyang has Huddersfield. Now, a lot of people, and I've probably done this myself recently, mentioned about Aubameyang's home form, but I was looking at his away games, and he's actually scored pretty good points in the away games. He's a classic player like everyone else, that when it's a weaker team, he has a good chance of getting points. When it's a top 6 team, not as much of a chance, but he has done well in away games against the easier teams. And Huddersfield, let's not forget, Richarlison was in our bad books, then he plays Huddersfield, scores, we keep him for the double. Hazard, out of form, we were worried about him, people were getting rid, myself included. He goes and gets goals against Huddersfield as well. So there's nothing to say that Aubameyang won't do that. So I do think if it's for free, I can see a good reason to do it. And obviously Aguero will blank, whereas Aubameyang will have the Southampton game. Now, the thing with that is I looked at that as a captain opportunity, but Son is also a captain option in that game. I think he plays Burnley away. So you don't necessarily 100% need Aubameyang. Now, obviously you could still captain Salah in that week if you wanted, but they play Man United, so I think a lot of people will be put off by that. So you're looking at Aubameyang and Son as the main options. So for me, I think Aguero to Aubameyang could still work out, because after Southampton it's Bournemouth, but then he does have Spurs and Man United, so I wouldn't expect too many points there necessarily, even though he did really well against Spurs in the reverse fixtures. So if people want to do it still, obviously it's your team, go ahead and do it. I don't think it's an awful transfer, but I just think Aguero's maybe done enough to look like he's the number 1 again there now. Play against Chelsea, could get points. And a -4 is going to be tough for Aubameyang to overturn that. But obviously we saw people ignore the reverse transfer this week, and probably regretting doing that. So I can see why you'd probably want to make it this week. But yeah, it's a good fixture. But I just think in game week 27, like I mentioned, Southampton performing a little better recently, so that could be a tighter game for Arsenal. So I don't know if he's absolutely 100% the nailed captain to have in game week 27. You could look at Son as well. So I would consider that next 2 games plus whether you want to captain him in game week 27. If you do, then the transfer looks much better for me. Getting over bad results. So a lot of people mentioned to me about the Fantasy Football Scoutcast, their talk on mental health. I don't think in this kind of short video, that I can probably do it justice and give it a proper talk. I think obviously tried to raise that money back in November for Movember, to raise awareness for mental health, which was great. So everyone kind of chatting about it and donating, which was brilliant. I think it's important to talk about. We all, especially when it comes to FPL, obviously you get annoyed with transfers and stuff and points that don't work out. I think the one thing why I don't talk about it necessarily that much is not because I don't want to, it's because I think when people talk about it, you kind of want to hear answers. And I don't know if I've got an answer to how you kind of get over it or you get past it. For me, I like to play video games. So if I have a bad game week, I'm probably going to play video games anyway, and I just tend to forget about it and move on. I don't like making rage transfers. I don't like logging on too much once I've had a bad game week. Like I actually kind of find it quite therapeutic to be talking on videos and streams about it. Even if people are like kind of winding me up and having a bit of banter about poor decisions like Sané, I kind of like being able to talk it over and let it's a bad week, you try and move on and get to the next one. But obviously, just forget about it and move on doesn't always work for everyone. But I try and have a bit of a laid-back approach to it, even though I do so much FPL stuff. At the end of the day, it's just a game. There is a bit of luck involved. I don't think anyone who seriously plays can tell you that if you did triple captain Sané, it was an awful decision. Yes, it was a bit risky, but I don't know if it was any more risky than going on Sterling and AGUERO. It just happens that those two are the ones that came out. So I just try and forget about it and just realise there is a bit of luck. Yes, there's a lot of skill involved. I'm not trying to say that people don't do really well because of their knowledge and their planning and stuff, but obviously there is a bit of luck. So you just got to try and remember it is a game. And for me, it's all about trying to take my mind off it. And for me, that's video games. For you, that could be something else. So obviously, if you want to chat, then definitely chat to someone. But yeah, I think this conversation is probably better for a different kind of video or a longer one, like on stream or something maybe. But yeah, definitely if you need someone to chat about FPL, loads of people on Twitter and stuff, myself, streams, comments below, just let someone know. I think is the best thing. And just try and forget about Sané if that's what's causing you issues right now, because yeah, that was a nightmare. Salah out. Yeah, Salah out. So people have been talking about this. I mean, I can see why. Not really scored many open play goals recently. Last 4 game weeks, top for expected goals. Only had 11 goal attempts in the last 4 game weeks, compared to Pogba, who's had 20 and Rashford 19, so quite low. And if you look at him versus Mane, he's had the same amount of goal attempts as Mane, and the same, I think, same chances created, but he has had much more big chances. Look, I think I'm going to not spend too much time on this because, let's be honest, no one's really getting rid of him. Yes, he's a lot of money, but they have great fixtures. I think he's a captain option this week. They don't blank. Obviously, still pushing for the league. So I think he's still a good option. And it would be a risk to go without him because we know what he can do. So yeah, Salah out, not for me. I can see why people are getting a little bit jittery, but I just think we've seen this earlier in the season and he generally comes good. So keep him in for me. Fixture swings I'm going to kind of rush through this. I don't want to go through too much detail for each one because it will take up so much time. But there's some teams with good fixtures or fixture swings soon. So just talk about them quickly. So you've got Wolves. We kind of already know about. A lot of us own Doherty and Jimenez. And then people looking at Jota as well. I think tripling up is fine because if you've already got Doherty and Jimenez, and Jota's still scoring points, then why not triple up? And they've got the fixtures to carry it on for a bit. So Newcastle at home, Bournemouth away, and Huddersfield away, and Cardiff at home. So decent fixtures there. In terms of fixture swings, West Ham have actually had pretty good fixtures on and off for a while. They've got Crystal Palace away, Fulham at home, City away, obviously Man City, that's a tough one. Then Newcastle at home and Cardiff away. So 4 of the next 5 are pretty good. You've got to kind of see what's happening with Arnautovic. He could still be a good striker option, but the injury worries do concern me. Otherwise, there's Felipe Anderson. A lot of people asking me about him on the stream tonight. I think, he was a great option in the past. He's got good fixtures. I think for his price, there's no harm in getting him in and trying again, but he hasn't done well recently. He's been completely out of the points, but he is a class player. So I think with those fixtures, he could be worth a look at. Obviously, we're still trying to wait and see what happens with blanks and doubles and stuff, but he could be worth a look at. Palace, West Ham at home, Leicester away, Man United at home. So again, they got that tricky fixture smack in the middle of the next 5. Then Burnley away and Brighton at home. Now, the thing with them is, defender-wise, most of us own Wan-Bissaka, so who else are we really going to go with? Van Aanholt, maybe, but probably don't want to spend the money when you got Wan-Bissaka. I like Batshuayi as an option up front if he's going to get minutes. We have to wait and see on that probably. But 6.5 million, I really do think he could do well. I quite like him as a player. I'm surprised Chelsea didn't give him a bit more of a chance. Maybe that tells you all you need to know. Maybe he didn't get the chance because he's not good enough. But when he went to Dortmund, he did all right for a while. So I'd like to give him a chance. And with those fixtures, I think he could do it. The problem is do you risk him against West Ham that he's going to come in and play? If he doesn't, then you've obviously ballsed up the transfer. And if you wait, then it's Leicester away and Man United at home. So suddenly the 5 fixtures don't sound quite as good. So maybe one to watch, but if you want a bit of a punt, I do like him. Brighton's fixture is really good. Now, they are going to blank in Gameweek 27. But it's Burnley at home, blank, Leicester away, Huddersfield at home, Palace away. Now, we still don't know if they're going to blank in the FA Cup yet. Blank in Gameweek 31 because of the FA Cup. They've just gone through tonight, so we'll have to wait for the next round. But if they don't, their fixtures do carry on. Players to look like there. You've still got Murray, last four game weeks, still getting the shots in, 2.23 expected goals. So it could be worth a little bit of a punt. I don't know how he's still going. I feel like he's like 58 at this point. But fair play to him, doing really, really well still in the Premier League. And Gross, big favourite from last year. 17 chances created in the last 4 game weeks is the highest for all attackers. And he's had 7 goal attempts as well. So he could be worth a bit of a look in. For his price and those fixtures. So keep an eye on the FA Cup and how the results go there. But they could have a really good run if they don't blank after game week 27. And then lastly, you got Leicester. A lot of people have been looking at this fixture swing. So they got Spurs away this week, which is tough. Then it's Palace at home, Brighton at home, Watford away, Fulham at home. And to be honest, the list goes on of good fixtures. So there's a few obvious players there. Ricardo in defence has been doing really well all season. You got Maguire if you wanted someone a bit different to him. And obviously Vardy up front, it's kind of around the 9 million price mark. So that does give you a way in to get someone like Higuain when Chelsea's fixtures get better and see how he beds in. But if he keeps going as he did in the last game, that was Huddersfield to be fair, if he can keep it up in the next couple of games and kind of gel in with the side, then you could go for Vardy, and if it doesn't work out, go to Higuain or vice versa. So I like having that structure in place where you've got a player who you can swap in and out for similarly priced players. And then there's one player who caught my eye against Man United, Harvey Barnes. Now, I must admit, I'm not a Leicester expert. He played that game, missed the previous one, then played the one before that. I think it all depends on Albrighton. So you'd imagine that Albrighton will probably play the majority if he is the one likely to keep him out of the team. But I was quite impressed with his pace, got in behind quite a lot, was able to go past Ashley Young pretty easily. Now, Ashley Young not the quickest, but Barnes has got a lot of pace to kill. And could be dangerous. 5.5 million is definitely a punt. I don't know what he's going to be like, if he's got assist potential, goal potential, but he definitely caught my eye in that Man United game. And then I've kind of already spoken about it. Bench blank players, I think you absolutely can do that. Is Son a must-have? Now, I do think the fixtures slightly put me off saying he's must-have. Leicester at home, Burnley away, and like I said, captaincy in that Burnley away match for sure could be an option. Then it's Chelsea away and Arsenal at home. But I've kind of probably overlooked top 6 fixtures a bit because I always see them as the tough ones. But Chelsea and Arsenal both been shipping goals. People may be slightly worried about Son rotation risk because he's tired, but he just seems like a bit of a machine to me. He's going to want to play week in, week out. Pochettino doesn't really have much of a choice but to play him. He's their best attacker right now. Arguably, you could say Eriksen, but for goals, Son is definitely the one. So I think he'll play. So it wouldn't put me off bringing him in. I don't know if he's must-have. I wouldn't want to label him as that, but his form has been so good this season. Against Newcastle, his goal was a bit lucky, I think, because Dubravka's a decent keeper and he should have done better. But to be fair, Spurs were knocking on the door a lot earlier than that. So probably fair they got that goal and maybe that it went to Son. So I think he's a very good option, and for his price and his ownership, he looks really decent. Sané to him, for example, could be a good transfer and one I'm looking at. I've actually got the money to do Richarlison to Son. So I'm definitely bringing him in, I think, this week. I wouldn't say he's must-have, but I definitely see points over the next 6. They don't blank in game week 27. If they don't blank in game week 31 as well, which we'll have to wait and see. He could be absolute gold. Even when Kane comes back and Ali comes back, he's definitely going to be in that side. One thing to say on the FA Cup is it might be worth trying to save a transfer this week if you can. After game week 26, we'll have the FA Cup fixtures before game week 27, and at that point we should know who's going to blank in game week 31, and that could really change your strategy and your transfer plan. So if you can save a transfer, definitely do. I won't be, because I feel like there's changes I need to make to my team, but I would definitely keep that in mind. And with Son, there is a chance that he doesn't blank in 27 or 31, and then he could be absolute gold for his price. And we've seen him destroy our rank before, apart from those that kept him in, and he definitely could do that again for a really good price. Looking at captaincy, there's a few. Obviously, Liverpool standouts, Salah or Mane, probably going to go for Salah. I think there's goals in that one for sure. Bournemouth, I know they won 4-0 against Chelsea, but I don't see them as a defensively sound team. Definitely goals in that one for Liverpool. So Salah probably the standout. I do think if you want something a bit different, Fulham are always a team I would target for goals. Pogba and Rashford in great form. How to split between the two is pretty tough. I'd probably go for Pogba. He's on penalties, extra point for the goal. He's had really high goal attempts like Rashford. And obviously gets the extra point for the goal and the clean sheet as well. So I think he's a really good option if you want a differential. Would I go against Salah? I mean, probably not. You know, I'm quite a boring, sensible player. But yeah, I do think Pogba is maybe worth a punt this week. And then you got Spurs versus Leicester. Son, I mean, a little bit of a worry. Maybe it doesn't start because of tiredness. But to be honest, I just don't see it. I think that's coming from people maybe overthinking. They need him in the team. He wants to play. Pochettino needs him. I think he'll definitely play. So they're the main standout. They're the main captain options, I think. Salah, then the Man United players, and Son and Spurs. My favourite is Salah. It's always going to be. But out of the other two, I kind of fancy Pogba, to be honest, against that Fulham team. But I would never discount Son from scoring. My plans, I've got the money to do Richarlison to Son, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it. Other than that, I'll either save a transfer, do Aguero to Aubameyang, but I think I've talked myself out of that, to be honest, at this point. So the other option is to take a hit and do Richarlison and Sané out for Mane and Son. Sané, like I said, got a few concerns over him now. Mane doesn't blank. I want to triple on Liverpool because they got good fixtures. A few concerns over whether they're going to, I don't want to say bottle the league, but the pressure is going to get to them, I think. It's how they handle that pressure. Obviously, they've dropped points in the last couple of games. West Ham played very well, but they would expect to win that game most of the time. So it'll be interesting to see how they react. They've got the fixtures to do it. So I think Richarlison, I know people are going to say keep him against his former team, but I just think his form has been pretty poor apart from that goal against Huddersfield. And Son is obviously a massive boost on him. And I had that in mind when I did Alonso to Bednarek. So I'll probably do that. Then it's just whether I do Sané to Mane or Aguero to Aubameyang or save a transfer. And given that we'll have a lot more info after this week, I may just save one. But we'll see. So yeah, I will leave it there. My captaincy will be Salah. Like I said, Son will be coming in. Let me know if you've got any questions. Leave it a comment below. Let me know if I've been talking rubbish, talking good stuff, what you agree, don't agree with. Obviously, if you need someone to talk to as well, comments below. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Good luck in Gameweek 26. I will catch you next time. Next stream will be on Sunday or Monday. Haven't quite decided yet, but keep an eye out on Twitter for that. Otherwise, yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers.